trust that everyone who wants to speak has signed it.
Already done? Here, if you want, here, I can.
I now call to order the work session of Urbanna Town Council for Thursday, August 12th. It is now 7:06 p.m. and I will call the roll. Marjorie Austin.
Here.
Larry Tuning.
Here.
Bill Goldsmith.
Here.
Mary Hanson.
Here.
Bill Smith.
Here.
Let's see, Steve Holberg is away and Mayor is here. We also have our town attorney, our town administrator, our town zoning administrator, and our clerk. Thank you very much. What is this? Another one? Okay. All right. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Afterwards, I will have a few words to say. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. No, we didn't. Okay, I just want to say a few words. Actually, it's a bunch of words. I'm welcoming you here tonight and thank you for participating in your town's governance. Urbanna Town Council has been busily reorganizing Town Hall, and the changes are becoming happily evident. We now have a town that is run by trained and seasoned management professionals and a town attorney who specializes in municipal law. Even before the ripples settled, we began pushing forward to achieve a number of important things. By including several eager volunteers. In the processes, we saved Farmers Market from a declared demise. We accomplished a number of noticeable cleanup and landscaping improvements around town. We marked and began the installation of the new street lamps on Cross Street and managed several water line breaks. We have regraded Oyster Road and spread new crush and run there so it no longer looks like a moonscape. We have new flags that have been ordered and distributed around town. Repairs and upgrades have been ongoing at the town marina. Thank you, Dan. Let's see, we have repaired and repainted the facade of the town hall. We have taken care of a recurring nasty flooding situation at Tabor Park. It looks like there's another one doing the same thing we have to take care of. And despite a perfectly horribly timed rainstorm, the town worked with Friends of Urbanna to celebrate Urbanna's Founders Day last weekend. The same group, Friends of Urbanna, has been awarded a grant to fund a ground-up study of the Scottish Factor Store building in an effort that will add to the educational importance of the town museum. Through the joy of volunteerism, we have added a third docent to our museum and have been restoring the hours of operation. We have replaced and upgraded the security system at the museum and replaced and upgraded the IT system for the entire town government complex. Now, I've heard questions about the method and feasibility of replacing the town pool. No matter what you may have heard, neither council nor the mayor have ever considered not replacing the pool. We consider it vital to the well-being of our community and hope to encourage the county to buy into it. We'll see if that happens. While it is tearfully disappointing that our town swimming pool has been effectively condemned, partially from simple age, it's more than 60 years old, and then finished off beyond repair by a year of disuse in 2020. We have a very active pool committee that has been meeting to find the best option for replacing it as quickly and economically as possible. Unfortunately, lacking some unexpected miracle, the process will probably take 2 years, and no matter how we proceed, it will be expensive. The previous council had resolved to engage a design firm to oversee the rebuilding of the entire Tabor Park, including the pool complex and hard surface courts. But a re-examination of their proposal has caused some serious questions to come up involving both time and money. The pool committee is, as quickly as possible, researching a more nimble approach to contract with a design-build pool firm and treat the other various elements of the park separately for a faster, less expensive outcome. No matter how much better organized town hall is, there will always be unexpected problems arising that require focused responses and sometimes reordering timelines. For example, we owe special kudos to Roy Keim, Garth Wheeler, Bill Smith, and several related businesses and utilities for the just completed repairs and replacement of critical elements on the town's water tower. You have no idea the number of hours these people have put in outside of ordinary business hours and over the weekends for the past 3 weeks. Now you can pick any town initiative that will draw good people passionately for and against it. There will never be a day when everyone agrees on everything. Criticism is rampant and is par for the course at any level of government, especially in a small town. We have limitations that mean we cannot make every wish come true. One recent problem we have faced involved our trash and recycling service. We had been very fortunate to have stretched what had started out as a temporary emergency fix at a very favorable rate to last over several years. But COVID and other issues changed the landscape as far as available labor went, equipment, materials, and costs, and the vendor found itself stretched to the limits. Unkind comments on social media, instead of being properly directed to town hall, pushed that vendor well beyond any comfort level to the place where that vendor declared the contract was not worth the abuse. Yes, folks, words have consequences. As a result, the town had to make haste to find other resources and/or negotiate a new contract at almost twice the previous rate. However, we will still be paying less than other comparable communities pay, thanks to the efforts of our town administrator, Garth Wheeler, who saved the day. This is why I welcome you here tonight. This is the appropriate place to hear and be heard by your town council and town staff. You are always encouraged to contact town hall, any member of council, and/or the mayor with any ideas, complaints, suggestions, or questions related to town services, events, or planning. It is our sworn duty to hear and consider your concerns, but it is your duty to become informed, hopefully before publicly sounding off about something that may be partially or entirely inaccurate. If you wish to be heard during the public comment section of tonight's meeting, you must have already signed the sheet that was at the back of the room. It's now here in front of me. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to make his or her point and will be taken in the order as listed on the sheet. Speakers not present when they are called will forfeit their time. I thank you for your indulgence, and now I will ask council if they have reviewed the minutes from our July 22nd meeting and if there is a motion to be made to accept them.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented for the July 22nd, 2021 meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any comment? All right, we'll take a vote. Marjorie Austin?
Yes.
Larry Tuning?
Yes.
Bill Goldsmith?
Yes.
Mary Hanson?
Yes.
Bill Smith?
Yes.
And the mayor answers yes too. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to the reports, starting with our town administrator.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you pointed out in your report,
We've had water issues over the past several weeks. On July 23rd at approximately 4 p.m., the town office started receiving phone calls about water not running. Upon checking the well pump station, it was determined that the pump was not running and the water level was extremely low. Repair service was contacted and responded and got the pump running. Over the past several weeks, we have been having repairs done to various electrical components, including the main circuit breaker that was blown. Most recently, the well pump was determined to have gone bad, and this was replaced on Tuesday. We're not sure what caused this to occur, and a claim has been filed with Versa, VRSA, which is the town's insurance company. We have not received all of the bills of work completed yet, but we are anticipating that this is going to cost approximately $30,000. Trash pickup, the garbage pickup contract has been signed, and the new schedule will go into effect Tuesday, August 17th. Twice a week pickup on Tuesdays and Fridays until week after Oyster Festival in November, and once a week pickup every Tuesday goes into effect Tuesday, November 9th. There will no longer be recyclable pickups due to cost constraints. Residents can take their recyclables to one of the county dump sites if they choose. And I'll point out that we are looking at alternatives of possibly doing something about putting strategic locations in the town if we can pull that off. Founders Day event, Friends of Urbanna hosted the annual Founders Day event this past Saturday. In spite of the rain, there was good attendance. The first play was filled to capacity with approximately 50 people. The fife and drum team played, the museum was open, and a tent was set up for various colonial-type games to be played. And I'd personally like to thank the Kiwanis Club and all the volunteers that made this event possible. Chesapeake Bay buy boats were here Friday, July 29th through Sunday. Friday, they had dinner at the Virginia Street Cafe. Saturday, they opened their boats to the public, who was invited to visit and get tours and talk with the boat captains and crew. It was a good, steady crowd throughout the day. There was a special added attraction on Saturday. Marnie Hart, our volunteer that is coordinating the farmers market, arranged for the produce truck to set up at Cross Street and Virginia Street. And there was a steady flow of people stopping by and making purchases throughout the day. And I think they ended up shutting down probably about 2 o'clock. Mason Realty was gracious enough to let them set up on their property there at the corner. The Cross Street Light Project continues to move forward. We're kind of in a holding pattern now. The poles have not been shipped, and we're not sure what the holdup is. We've been checking with them every day. But all of the other pieces are here, and the mounts for the poles have been installed in the concrete, and all the other pieces have arrived. This project is going to be over budget by about $5,000. And UBI is assisting with project costs, donating $15,000 toward the project, and we thank them for that. The pier project at the Old Payne Crab House, this project has been in the works for quite some time. VMRC use permit is still active and valid until October 2022. This document was approved for specific use and for construction down there for a pier and a dock. And at y'all's instruction, I met with Docks of the Bay, and we will be discussing specifics about their proposal under old business. The big grant for the town marina, this grant was approved and set up as a reimbursement grant, and at the end is scheduled for February 28th, 2023. Funds are to be used for maintenance, improvements, and upkeep of the marina and its piers and docks at that site. The total grant funding is $102,562.50. There is a 25% cash match that the town has to make To date, we have spent $10,696 of those funds. And one last note, the Hampton Regatta is this weekend. There'll be approximately 16 boats that are coming in, or sailboats coming in. And we want to thank Latney Montague and his family for hosting this event and making it possible, and also the marina folks for making it happen. So it's always good to have events like that and bringing business to our town. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Garth. Okay, do we have a treasurer's report?
Treasurer's report, the Sona Bank General Operating Bank account, as of 7/31/21 has $591,997.20. The renter water deposits, $14,551.66. The net operating general bank account has $524,624.26. BB&T pool replacement account currently has $36,761.26. The Sona Bank Water Fund Reserve, $113,747.30. The General Fund Reserve, $94,608.08. The CARES Local Recovery, which is a new, ARPA is what it's actually called. We got a check from the state government, ultimately from the feds. Our portion is $237,591.65, and we're due to get another check of that amount later on in the year. The Tabor Trust account, as of 6/30/21, $1,476,022 and 72 cents. Meals tax collected in July 31st, $14,800.26. It's down about $5,000 from June, but it's still a little bit of a chunk of change. Lodging tax, $3,166.70. Just so for clarification and make sure y'all are aware, it was recommended that the ARPA money that we received not be placed in the general fund but have its own checking account, which we have done.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, cigarette tax. That's gonna be handled.
Yes, in fact, I'm glad you brought that up, Larry. They are getting ready to have their first meeting, and we're gonna have to have someone as a board member to represent the town. So they're getting ready to kick off.
No, we thought you'd be a good one, Larry.
I thought you might say that.
Sounded familiar, huh?
Thank you very, do we need to vote on that?
Yes.
Does anyone want to make?
I'll make a motion that Larry be the person of the cigarette board.
And Mary, do you second?
I second.
Motion is made and seconded. I think we need to take a vote on it.
Do you have any discussion there?
No, he doesn't.
I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, so.
That's why we
Yeah.
need you there.
But you brought the idea to us in the first place, so you're stuck with it.
For a sin tax, somebody that's not sinning is the perfect representative.
Yes.
There you go, yes. Okay, so we're taking the vote now. Marjorie Austin.
Yes.
Larry Tuning.
He said yes.
Abstain.
Abstain.
You can't abstain.
Bill Goldsmith.
Yes.
Mary Hanson.
Yes.
Bill Smith.
You know, Larry, I want to hear you say you'll do it.
Okay, there you go.
Then yes.
As the mayor says,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm not gonna force anybody to do
Okay.
something they don't want do.
Motion passes, thank you very much. Okay, we got kind of off track there. I'm so sorry. Let's see. I would like to, I should have done this earlier, I'm sorry, because I got all tied up in my own words, because I just thought it was so important. I'm so sorry. I do need to propose that we have an amendment at this time to insert under item 9, after the public comment response period, we will need to go into a brief executive session to discuss personnel issues. Does anyone have an objection to that? All right. Shall we take a vote on accepting the amendment? I'll make the motion. Someone second it?
I'll second.
Okay. So Marjorie,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Judy, Mary H.
Yes.
Yes.
Bill, and yes. Okay, so that motion passes too. So we will insert that right after number 9. Okay. Next, do we have a report from the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee, Garth covered it with his administrator's report, and that was just that we're having a cost overrun with respect to the lights. At this point, we're not gonna say we're not gonna do it because they're almost in. And so that's really all that's happened under the finance. I would like to point out that the meals tax, which is down from June, is actually still up $4,000 from the same period last year, which is pretty impressive, I think. So the restaurants obviously are at least holding on. And I don't know, why don't I just do pool while I'm talking?
Okay.
Which you have covered, so I can say that. The only thing to add to the pool is that we did engage our town attorney, Ms. Arard, to look over the pool report and to come up with some suggestions to try and streamline the process so that we can start working on getting a new pool.
Thank you.
Hey, Bill, I'd like to add something to that. Everyone knows that we sent out a survey to everyone in town. One of those questions was it important for the town of Urbanna to have a pool? Of all the respondents, 80% said yes. Now, if that's not a mandate from the citizens of the town, I don't know what is. So I just want to let everybody know, 80% said they wanted that pool.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Bill. Thank you. Okay, Water Committee, Bill.
Okay, the Water Committee met on the 9th, just a few days ago. The first thing was on there is financing for the well. There's no word back from DHCD on our grant application as of yet. Roy and I think Garth was with, I discussed it with Garth. We decided that with current circumstances that we've had with the water situation, that we go ahead and release Kimberly Horn for the PER to set us up for the USDA.
What's the PER?
Professional engineering report, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I get used to these acronyms. So the PER should be done by the end of August. The application process with the USDA will begin as soon as the PER is complete. I'm in touch with the USDA now, and we'll have more information forthcoming once I get some more of the paperwork that they obviously need to have done. Fire hydrant flow testing and coordination with UVFD. Roy and I have talked, and we're going to meet. We have to determine fire hydrant rebuild kits. We have a listing of all 53 fire hydrants of different manufacturers and sizes that we have to get rebuild kits for this, because some of these fire hydrants have not been exercised in 20 years. So if you open them up to flush them and then you can't close them, you're having a problem there. So Roy and I will be taking care of that soon. Water system maintenance program, that's cartograph. Martha, you are our cartograph queen. I tell you, she was jumped in with both feet, and she understands this thing better than all of us. It's been training, for going live with the operation management system, and it's ongoing. We will have approximately 14 hours of training just this week. And so Roy, Martha, Dr. Goldsmith, and myself have been sitting in front of our computer screens for almost 14 hours. Makes it a fun day. Revision of the water code, that is ongoing still. And the last item was our grants and loans, and of course, I said that at the beginning, we're still waiting for the Department of Housing and Community Development to get final word from them on whether but I'm going the other avenue with USDA right now. I'll get the paperwork rolling anyway.
Keep all options open. Thank you. Okay, and Planning Commission, Mary?
Okay, so the planning commission met on August 10th, which was this last Tuesday, and discussed the Virginia Street Pier and Dock permit and possible build, and the HRSD pumping station situation, as planning commission members had questions and wanted to be informed, much as the public wanted to be informed tonight. The primary focus of our discussion was the build of the Virginia Street Pier and Dock complex as permitted. The Planning Commission will be requesting that the Town Council proceed with funding and building the Virginia Street Pier and Dock project that was permitted in 2013 and expires in October of 2022. As a part of that permit process, the same adjacent neighbors were noticed and given opportunity for comment prior to the permit being issued. This project will give citizens and visitors waterfront access on the only remaining piece of town waterfront property that Urbanna has. It also supports the 7 goals that have been identified by the Planning Commission, those goals being economic development, tourism development and marketing, waterfront access and development, historic preservation with the historic museum on the water trail that we plan to build as a second step. Town beautification and maintenance, and also building sustainable cooperative relationships. It is our goal to meet with the adjacent neighbors to discuss ways that we can work together collaboratively to have all of our interests met with this project. And I'll be asking permission from the Town Council to proceed with those conversations. And Garth will be presenting more on this topic.
Thank you, Mary. Marjorie, did you have anything you wanted to report for volunteers or anything?
They're just wonderful and they're doing a great job, so.
Okay, we love our volunteers, thank you so much. Now, do we need to take a vote at this point to allow Mary to open the conversation with the,
With the adjacent neighbors?
yes,
I would like to do that. I would like permission.
I'll make a motion for that to happen.
okay.
To open that conversation.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, there we go. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All right, we'll take a vote. Marjorie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Bill Goldsmith?
No.
No, okay. Mary?
Yes.
Bill Smith?
No.
Mayor votes yes. Majority vote carries. Thank you. All right, let's move on to old business. Garth?
We need to do something with this mic situation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing that. Put it in the corner. Oh.
Okay, I'm going to present out, and as I said in my previous report, I was asked at a previous council meeting if I would get a bid proposal for building the pier down at the Virginia Street property that is owned by the town. And I want to give you a little history. The project actually started with an application made to VMRC in September 2013. The town was leasing the approximately 30 feet piece of property for it to be used as a crab shack type venture, which had previously been there as Payne's Crab House. The applicants decided not to move forward with the project after some time, and the lease was canceled. The town has discussed putting something on this property for several years and have extended the VMRC permit approval on a couple occasions. The latest permit expires October 2022. It should be noted that it is noted in a deed executed November 2015, that the town can use this piece of property for any public purpose. This deed was referenced to condo purchases upon purchase. This has been a discussion topic on various occasions by town council over the years as to how the town could best benefit by use of this property, since it is the last public access to the water for use. I was instructed at a recent council meeting to get a quote for construction of a dock and a floating pier to determine what the approximate cost would be for this project. It was decided to use current plans since they had already been approved by VMRC. I got a quote from Docks of the Bay of Whitestone, which is why this matter is on the agenda for tonight's meeting. And one of the reasons that I went with Docks of the Bay was they are going to be doing the work at the boat ramp, extending that, and it's scheduled for this fall. And I believe they're also going to be doing further construction on the creek for another property owner. This matter is still in the planning stages, and are looking and considering options that will best serve the town residents and the community. I also want to note that this project has nothing to do with other projects that are underway, such as the pool, for example. We've gotten a lot of comments and feedback that we shouldn't do this because of that. Well, this isn't an either-or situation. This is how we can best serve the town and the visitors of this town, and improve upon the town and the tourism and so forth. And I apologize. We had some technical difficulties. I was trying to, That's all right. But I can pass this around. The proposals are for a 30 by 30 dock, which is stationary. That would cost $32,000. And then a 30-foot floating pier attached to that would cost $20,144.80, and a 50-foot floating pier would cost $28,885.55. And I can pass the photo around, or maybe I'll hold it up. I mean, it doesn't look like much, but that's the 30 by 30, and then the pier extension. And again, I can pass that around. But that is the proposal. And I believe that, and I want to reiterate that this is not etched in stone. This was, you know, when you're looking at projects, you got to start somewhere, and you got to know how much it's going to cost in order to move to the next step. It's a step-by-step process, just like we've done with all the other projects. So, anybody have any questions?
Questions or comments?
Either one.
Just, no motion has been made, but I've got a lot of comments, all negative with regard to the project. I know we've discussed this at length. From my perspective, we've, and as a matter of fact, every council member has had, and I've got a couple more letters actually that have come to me that I haven't forwarded. But the condos, the people in the condos at this point are against the scope of this project. In September 10th of 2020, the prior council, with the approval and agreement with the people at the condos, agreed to a simple kayak launch at that location with kiosks for the Blue Water Trail to have brochures that were there, and they were fine with that plan. In terms of the economic development, one of the things this is supposedly for is for the launching of kayaks and that would meet that goal without nearly the expense that we're talking about. So that's one. The project is, what's the total? Again, well. it's-
32,000 plus either 20 or 28.
Okay, so it's an amount that is greater than 1% of the budget. The prior councils before were asked to include that in budgets, and they were so against the project that we wouldn't even put a line item in the budgets because the expense was there. We've got a town that we need to fix the culvert going to the marina, and I realize it doesn't necessarily have to be an either or, but we do have limited funds. We've got a road, an access road to the marina that's falling into the creek. We can't get fire trucks to the marina because the culvert won't support it. We've got a museum that has a retaining wall that needs to be repaired because otherwise, at some point, the museum is going to be truly a museum in the streets at Virginia Street. Like I said, I've got letters from half a dozen people that took no time at all to get generated when this was put on the agenda of people that are against it. And because it's less than or more than 1% of the budget, the proper path is it needs to be advertised in the paper as a budget amendment. It needs to have a public hearing so that, just like with the HRSD project, people can come in and vent, and then we could proceed at that point. But I think we're a little ahead of ourselves with respect to some of this stuff because absolutely every one of us at this table got a letter from a representative of the condominium saying they don't want this.
Well, and I'll address that, Bill, and unfortunately, I was directed by council. I did what I was instructed to do. Nothing more, nothing less.
No. I'm
And-
not trying to throw you in. And I don't
But let me
specifically
speak
remember
now.
asking for a quote for a
We,
bid, but
and that's the reason this is not coming up for a vote, because we're still in the very beginning stages, but we have to start somewhere.
Right.
And first and foremost is, how much is this thing gonna cost? So you have to start somewhere. And that's why it was decided, let's move forward and get a cost so that we can look at this and then look at alternatives and move from there.
Well, in conjunction with that, like I said, September 10th of 2020, the prior council voted to have a simple kayak launch and a starting point for the Blue Water Trail at that point, because it was going to satisfy most of what Mary outlined.
Well, my only comment about the kayak thing is if you go down and you look at the creek, there are more and more kayaks, those standing paddle boats or whatever, boards or whatever they're called, canoes. And I went down last Saturday and when there were 3 carloads unloading kayaks, and they don't have anywhere to put in. They're putting in there at the boots and going under the pier, and that's just not right.
And that's why
So
I
we have a
recommend-
need,
Right.
and I'm not saying it's at that location. I'm just saying we have a need that needs to be addressed.
Right, and my point is that was already voted on to do a simple kayak launch there, and that satisfied that need.
Okay.
I know Jim told me that they had, what was it, Jim? 21 paddle boarders that showed up on one particular
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah?
But what we voted on, and this is why I voted for it, was to talk to the folks at the condo. Your number one concern is money. My number one concern are those folks that own those condominiums. That's why I voted for it.
Right, and we got a letter,
I understand why you didn't.
because we got a letter from the people at the condo that said they didn't want it.
Talk is what it's all about,
Okay.
you know? I mean,
Thank you, Bill.
you know, and if it gets too hot and they have legitimate concerns and we can't meet those concerns,
Okay.
then I'll vote against it. But,
Well, we will have an opportunity for public comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Gotta have
somebody
Oh,
had their hand
tonight
up
we
over
will.
here.
Yes, we're not there yet, thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, thank you, Garth. So, before we get to public comment, we still have new business to get through. Any new business? Garth?
Yeah.
You have some, okay, hold on, Garth, before you get to your new business, Larry has some more old business. Are you turned on?
Turn your mic on, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
All right, the Blue Water Trail, y'all caught me by surprise on that. The key to this thing is to get, we allocated $7,000, $5,000, $7,000.
Yeah,
for
5
this
to 7.
project. The key to this thing is to get John Gill back here and pay him to come back, just mileage, whatever it takes to get him back, so that he and I and you together can coordinate this thing and move forward on it. But John he was the keynote. I was gonna get the information together, but he was tied to that Pocosin, kayak trail down there. In fact, he helped do it. And so he was a great source. And then he left, and that's when it sort of fell off, slipped off the shelf.
Okay.
But if we can get him back up here, I'll move forward on it, and we'll get it done.
Okay.
thanks for bringing that back up, Larry.
Should we do a motion on that? I move to try to hire John Gill on an hourly basis to help implement the already designated amount of money to finish out the Blue Water Trail.
Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Motion, it's, yes, you may
Yeah.
have discussion.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
Neither do I.
Okay, so it's hard for me to vote on it if I don't know what you're talking about. I know what we've talked about as far as a Blue Water Trail, as far as a history loop. We've talked about that, but I don't know if it's the same thing or something else.
No,
So
that, it's the s-
enlighten me.
No, it's the same thing. There are, 14 designated areas in the creek, including a Confederate ship that's
Yes.
sunk up at the headwaters. And Larry is the factoid on this
Okay.
stuff. But there are 14 areas that the plan was to set up buoys in the creek
Mhm.
out of the navigation channels that
Mhm.
would identify historical areas in the creek that, just like the museum and the streets,
Right.
kayakers could
Which was
pull
what
up
we
there
talked
and
about
right.
proceeding with.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's what it is.
Okay.
And where it ended was that.
That's what I was gonna ask. Why didn't it proceed? If you all voted on it, why are we here now, 2
because
years
John
later?
Gill left. John Gill left.
He didn't leave 2 years ago.
No, it's-
No, it wasn't voted
No, he
2
left in
years ago.
December.
We were starting
20.
last year,
Yeah.
and a lot of it came down was.
It was right at the
everybody
end
had their
there.
boats full, and I was
Oh,
going to have my boat,
oh.
but we gotta get in the water to get the GPS
Of course,
coordinates, so we
of
can
course.
get the buoys in the right
And
position.
that's
Okay,
where we were
okay,
with BMRC.
Okay,
But
I
we-
see.
But, I mean,
So
I
what-
would, go ahead.
Why do we have to have John Gill? He just said he could get in the water and put in a GPS on it and put in the buoy.
Because John
This is
Gill
John
knows how to
Gill's
do
baby.
this. I mean, if you all had,
Okay.
let's take the MITS program,
Experience.
for instance. All I did was get the information together,
Mhm.
okay? There was somebody else that did all the other work,
Mhm.
and we hired that person to do it.
Okay.
I mean, you,
I know
this
it's a
council's
lot
not
of
gonna do it,
work.
and this
It's a
group-
lot of work. I
Well,
know that.
I don't know exactly what it is, but, he's done it down in Pocosin.
Okay.
And so we need somebody who's a resource that has done this. Well, that's why we need John Gill, unless you wanna do it.
So we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
I think that there are so many things that we're actually all in agreement on. We want a Blue Water Trail. We want kayak access. We want adjacent neighbors to support the idea as we support them. We need to work out the details. I am not personally feel like I'm ready to vote for a package, John Gill and the previously permitted thing. I'll vote for John Gill, but so that because again, that's part that we agree on.
That's not what you're voting on. All you're voting on is to get him back up here.
No, that's not what Bill said. He said John Gill and to proceed with what was the Blue Water Trail.
The
What
motion
do
is
you
to,
wanna do, Mary?
the
What do
motion
you
is
wanna
to
do?
get John Gill up here so we can proceed with the Blue Water Trail.
With the Blue Water Trail. Okay,
Yes.
good. Thank you for the clarification.
Yes.
Okay, now I get it now, Larry.
Okay.
Okay, I just wasn't here for all of that.
Okay.
All right, and who seconded? Marjorie, did you second that?
No, Bill Smith did.
Bill Smith did, and that's what you were seconding. Okay. Is there any more discussion on it?
A while ago now.
forgotten.
Is there any more discussion on this motion? All right, then let's go ahead and vote. Okay, Marjorie Austin,
Yes.
Larry Tuning,
Yes.
Bill Goldsmith,
Yes.
Mary Hanson,
Yes.
Bill Smith,
Yes.
and Mayor votes yes too. Motion carries. Okay, now, new business.
We need to vote to, or y'all need to vote to approve the 64th Urbanna Oyster Festival Master Plan. The Oyster Festival is moving forward November 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2021. And I hope you don't want me to read this whole thing. It's the same plan, has been
The last
used for the
35
past
years.
several years, so.
It's good bedtime reading.
If you don't want to remember the words.
I'll make a motion to accept the Oyster Festival Master Plan as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any conversation? All right, we'll take a vote. Marjorie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Bill G?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Bill S?
Yes.
And Mayor, yes. Motion passes, master plan is accepted. Thank you very much. Okay. Is that all of the new business? Okay, then we are getting ready to go into open public comment, and as I said before, each person who signed up has 3 minutes to speak, and if you didn't sign up, you don't get to speak. So, let me find the right paper, thank you. Okay, into public comment, and we will start with Bill Height.
Here's my time.
Thank you.
It's nice when you talk speak.
Does this mic, I guess it works?
Yes.
Okay. Mary Hanson, I'd like to address you first. With reference to your comments about what came out of the Planning Commission, it seems to me that you said something to the effect that the 2013 proposal was actually done with the residents of the condominium Urbanna Harbor project down here. Okay, that's what I gathered from what you said. There were almost no units sold when that permit was gotten. We were dealing with them, and we were dealing with Bob Montague. We had no problems with approvals. It was thought to be a good thing. It did not work out in a lot of ways. I'm sorry that it didn't, but it just didn't. But anyway, I see a bit of confusion relative to some of the ideas about funding. I do not think it is a good idea that a full-blown project for $52,000, let's say with a 50-foot pier, is a good idea, because you basically do not have the money to do what you're talking about doing. Now, there is a ongoing marina improvement plan that Latney Montague is doing on his marina over there. And the town has been involved, as I know, with talking to him and trying to figure out stuff and all. That project is just so much more important than this little small right-of-way that we're talking about down there. The biggest jewel that this town has got besides the playground is that marina that we have. That marina has infinite possibilities for expansion and improvement. We do not know about ownership of other marinas from the bridge to the town marina, but we do know that we as a town own what we have there. It is a jewel. Nobody ever thought that we would have a town marina for the town of Urbanna, but it's probably the best thing that's happened in a long time. I would like to see Latney make a wonderful push, fix things, maybe relocate a road, do some stuff. Don't know really what's going to happen. But, I mean, that is important stuff.
10
This-
seconds.
Thank you, I'll stop.
Thank you.
Very much.
Okay. Okay, next one just says Bareford. There's only one name, Bareford?
He's gone.
He's gone, okay. Oh, it's Gary Lister.
I was gonna say, I think it was me.
Yes.
First time talking to you. Thank you for letting me talk, and I guess I just want to remind the council respectfully that while I value the views, and I think all of us do, of the condominium owners and certainly of the Montagues, there's an awful lot of people in this town who are not lucky, as many of us are in this room, to have waterfront property. And in fact, I think the majority of the town is not on the water. And, you know, right now, we all know townspeople don't have access to a pool. This is a way to get them much easier access to the water that is safe. And I think that it will help town residents, give folks a healthy way to experience our beautiful waters, and will also draw tourism. I mean, I know in my little tiny experience with my little tiny 12 rooms, people are really excited to kayak. And they're really excited to know that there's history around here, know that there's nature around here. And I think that's something we can build on. I think that we can follow the example of some towns around us. Warsaw has a new program where, you know, you get bused to take a kayak trip. Matthews has spent a lot of money developing their kayaking, as have places around Williamsburg. And I think it's really missing an opportunity if we don't pursue this. And yes, I understand the money issues, and I will confess I'm not incredibly well versed in the town's finances, but it seems to me $68,000 is a pretty good price for an operation that we could charge rents for. You know, you could, instead of the racks that we all store our kayaks on for free, you could charge people. And you could charge people who launch from there a, you know, small fee that I think people would very cheerfully pay. So I think it could really benefit the town and residents. And, you know, I was at the planning commission meeting, and certainly I think as a town, we ought to work together, and I don't want the condo owners to be miserable about it, and neither do I want the Montagues. But at the same time, those of us lucky to be on the water need to remember the folks who are not on the water. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Latney Montague.
Yeah, thanks. I'll talk fast because I have a lot of thoughts about this. But first, Mayor Hartley, I want to congratulate you on the excellent new staff that you guys have. I think a chronic issue for the town, and we certainly saw it with that pump station meeting that we all sat through, is there's a real communication problem. There's a real transparency problem. People, including the neighbors to major projects, don't know what's going on. And in such a small town, that is it's unacceptable. And I'm glad that you guys are working with professionals who can help improve communication and avoid surprises for folks. That's very helpful. I didn't get the pool survey, but I strongly support reinvesting in the pool. I guess so that's the notice question. Bill's project was noticed in 2013. That's a really long time ago. A lot of changes happened. I think it's really important to revisit. We're in 2021 now, and we need to revisit what Bill was planning. Bill was planning a seafood dock, a commercial structure. It was large enough to support, offloading seafood. That's what that permit is for. We don't need to offload seafood. We need to provide access to the water. As you said, we need to have a canoe launch that's first class. And that is a much smaller facility than what Bill Haight got permitted. And so, just with my project, I have a 10-foot setback on each side. Bill's project had a 0 setback, and that was fine in 2013. But now we need a setback that protects the neighbors. And as a right-sized project, it'll be a lot cheaper. As Garth knows, these projects go by the square foot. And so if we make it smaller, it'll be cheaper. I would also say that I don't think it's necessary. I think the town as Bill said, has one of the nicest marinas of any municipality in the world down there that is in poor condition. It needs help. I had to bring in a floating dock myself just to host the Hampton Nationals, which I need to get down there and do. I've got 40 people waiting for me down there, but we installed a floating dock this afternoon. But I'm deathly afraid of what's going to happen when people roll their trailers off the edge of that concrete ramp. But we could easily add floating docks at that marina where there's parking, there's room for racks, and it's a perfect access point. It is further away from commercial traffic, the ideal canoe launch and kayak launch. I do a lot of all this. I do paddle boarding and kayaking, canoe. The ideal place to launch is off of the dinghy dock with a small floating dock extension to facilitate that. So if people really want to develop the foot of Virginia Street, that's fine. It just needs to be much smaller, but more cost effectively. I think we should invest in the town marina, as Bill said, and sort of polish that crown jewel that we have. Parking is huge. Even the proposal you had, if you're bringing in a lot of people, people need a place to turn around that van or bus. They need to be able to park. They need to offload their kayaks. There is not enough room at the foot of Virginia Street to do any of those things. You can't park a bus. You can't park cars and have a rack. So it's really just not big enough, certainly not big enough for a 30 by 30 by 50 by 6 slip. And I'm happy to talk with Mary and try to right size this, but I really want to engage the condos because they live right there and we want to make sure whatever gets built is okay with them. All right, thank you very much.
Very good comments. Thank you very much. All right, and Sandy Sturgill.
I think he's answered all our questions and voiced what we had to say, so I'll just yield to that.
Can I make another
Thank you.
5 seconds?
Go ahead.
You know, with all of the experience that I've gotten working on my marina project, one thing that I've learned, it is very easy to amend a VMRC permit, A, and B, as Docs of the Bay have told me, it's very easy to build something smaller within the permit envelope that you already have. No one objects to building things smaller than what you have. So I think what you should think you have is a building envelope in which you can do something smaller and cheaper and right sized for the purpose with the permit you already have.
Very constructive. Thank you very much. Okay, I thank you all for your comments, and I'm going to close public comment.
There
What?
was one more, there was one
Oh,
more.
there's one more. That's right. There was a second page. If you've got something to say, okay, Martha, hello, come on ahead.
I'm standing right here. That you did an awesome job. Garth, I have to disagree with you about money. It's our money. It's the townspeople's money for all these projects, and so it does matter to us of what we're going forward with. We need a smaller thing. We need the boat ramps for the kayaks. Everybody loves to do that. Let's just go smaller. The proposal from this permit, which I would like to know for. How did you get a 0 setback line? You and I were on the border zoning appeals at the same time. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't ever remember it coming before, the BZA. And, I just think it's it's an issue that just needs to be addressed more logically. Let's use some good logic here and not build something that's gonna be an eyesore and hard to keep up and all kinds of things. We need to go smaller. And we need to do the marina. That's where our money needs to go as taxpayers.
Thank you very much. Okay, that closes public comment. Thank you all for your considered thoughts and your considered words. We appreciate you adding to the consciousness of the town. All right, at this point, it is time for, if there's any public comment response from the council or from the staff, now is the time to do it.
I'd like to clarify that Blue Water Trail thing. Mary, council approved that in October or September before the election. So we only had 2 or 3 or 4 months to do anything. Then we have complete switch with our mayor and also council members. I just dropped it with all the other things we had with all that we've had to do. So now we're at a point I think we can do it. I think we ought to move ahead on it. Okay?
That's great.
Thank you.
Again, not knowing the history, and it said it was 2 years ago, I was just wondering why
No.
it hadn't happened.
It's been a
You know,
while, but it's
yeah.
taken us 6 or 7 months to get ourselves situated.
Good to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, good.
Make the announcements before the.
You want the announcements first? Okay, so we're gonna make a slight change here. We had amended to, after this point, go into an executive session, but we've been asked to go ahead and make the announcements first. So, who's got the announcements?
Well, there are none, so.
All right, so then, it looks like, I thought someone was dying to tell us something. Okay, all right then, Bill Goldsmith, it's time for you to read your thing.
Well, I'll make a motion to go into, adjourn to go into executive session.
Well, Bill's gonna read it here.
Yeah, this is the official verbiage. I move that the Urbana Town Council go into executive session pursuant to section 2.2-3711A1 Code of Virginia for the following purpose. Discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective clients for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of the town of Urbana.
Someone second it.
Would you mind if I just kind of help with that motion a little bit?
Did you write this?
Yes,
Read this.
thank you.
Oh. Okay, so just,
move.
I move to go into closed meeting pursuant to the Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1 for the discussion of the performance of town manager and the zoning administrator.
We need a second. Second. Okay. Let's take a vote. Marjorie? Yes. Larry?
Yes.
Bill? Mary?
Yes.
Barbara, yes. Okay, motion passes. Thank you all. You can come back when we're done.
Yes.